Hi, welcome to the channel. Okay, so what happened yesterday? I got to my appointment for my nuclear medicine medication early because I didn't want to have to miss my appointment and have to come back some other day. I live about an hour from the hospital. So I went in early, uh, got I had enough time that I bought myself a little bit of dessert for the lunch that I'd had a little earlier, and I went and registered. And the lady at the registration desk said, "Okay, you're registered. Someone will come and get you in a few minutes. Go ahead, have a seat." Usually they come and get me pretty soon, but this time, for some reason, they didn't, and I kept waiting and waiting. And I was thinking, I wonder if this lady has really registered me and if they know that I'm here, because if they don't, if they decide that I've missed my appointment and they decide to move on to the next patient and they cancel my appointment, I'm going to have to come back, which will not be any fun. So I waited and I thought, well, I'm going to wait another 5 minutes or so, and if no one's called me, I'll go back to the registration desk. No one called me, so I went back to the registration desk. I said, "Look, I registered quite a while, about 10 or 15 minutes ago for an appointment whose time is already passed. So could you make sure that I'm registered? Because I don't, I just want to make sure that I'm registered." She said, "Yes, you are. Someone will come and call you in shortly." So finally they did. And I went in, and things went pretty much the way I described them yesterday. So this is not going to be telling you anything new, I don't think. The only thing is the lady who what they do is they put uh, a needle in you, and the needle is connected to a saline tube that has other ways of connecting other tubes to it and other syringes. And through the syringe, they inject the medication that they're going to give you. So the lady that does all that, usually does all that, that I've come to like a lot, was there, but they were deciding to train a new lady, I guess. So she said, "I'm going to be administering your medication today." And I thought, okay. I crossed my fingers. And then there, especially because there was someone behind her telling her, "Okay, now do this, now do that, now you can put the needle in his arm." And I thought, oh, brother and sister. So she put the needle in it. She did a pretty good job, and everything went well. So the injection went in. She said, "I didn't realize that you were supposed to feel either heat or cold." And she asked me, "Is it feeling hot?" And I said, "No, it's feeling cold." And she said, "No, that's the way it's supposed to feel." And I said, "Okay." And around me were the other members of the team, so to speak, like the doctor and uh, the guy that takes down all the information and has me sign releases, and then the lady that has the Geiger counter, who ran the Geiger counter over me before the medication was administered to make sure to, I guess, to get a zero reading, a base reading, I should say. And the base reading is supposed to be zero, whatever it is, zeros, and that's what she got. So then, um, by the way, everyone was staying about 4 or 5 feet away from me. and from the lady that was administering the medication. And finally, she started administering the medication. And they have to do it, apparently, over a certain period of time, which, she kept looking at the clock on the wall. And I have it timed to about 1 minute. She has to inject that medication not immediately, but over the course of 1 minute. And then she pulled it out, left the saline out, pulled out the plunger, and then pushed it in again and did it several times. And I said, "Why are you doing that?" Which is something that I should have asked before, but it hadn't occurred to me. And she said, "Because we want to make sure that you're getting all the medication." And I understood that, that made sense. After it was all done, the needle was pulled out of my arm, and then everyone wanted to ask me if I felt okay, which I did. And then the lady with the Geiger counter came up and ran the counter over me, and while where it was silent before, now it was going it was talking to us. So now I was officially radioactive. And she had me put up my my arms in front of me, and she ran the Geiger counter first over one arm, then the other, and she got the same reading for both arms. So that was a good thing, I guess. And that was it. Then I went back to my car. Now, I've mentioned that all these people that were around me, with the exception of the person that was administering the medication, bless her heart, were staying 4 or 5 feet away from me. And that's one of the things that I have to keep in mind. For the first day, I have to stay about 2 or 3 feet away from people. And then the second day, I can go to the store, for example, and be briefly around people while I do my shopping. And then the third day, I'm more or less okay. I'm still radioactive, but I don't pose a threat to the people around me. So that's what happens with this kind of medication. And this is a kind of medication that, for me, has been very effective. I thank God for the medication, but I guess it's not as effective for other people. I've watched videos, and apparently only 2/3 of the people that receive the medication actually get a benefit from it, and the other third is kind of out of luck, and they have to go look for other ways of dealing with their prostate cancer. So I feel very lucky and very pleased, and I thank God for this medication. Anyway, if you have any questions for me about the medication or the way it was administered, I'll try to answer them as best I can. And if you think that this information has been of benefit to you, or it might be of benefit to other people, share and subscribe. So I'll see you in the next video.